Alas, she dreamed of a wolf with golden eyes every night. The Alpha King said, "Your dreams are memories." Pesh. Each evening, when the sun dipped below the horizon and the skies turned a bruised purple, she felt a tug deep inside her chest. It was a pull she could not resist, a whisper she could not name. And when she fell asleep, she entered a world that was neither dream nor memory, but something in between. Night after night, she dreamed of a wolf. Not a common wolf, but one with golden eyes that shone like molten sunlight on dark water. It moved silently through a forest that seemed alive, trees bending as if to watch its passage. Its fur gleamed under the silver moon, each step deliberate, full of a purpose Elara did not yet understand. She would awaken with a start, her heart pounding, sheets twisted around her legs. But even as she tried to tell herself it was only a dream, the golden eyes lingered. They were more than eyes. They were a pull, a question, a promise, base, and sometimes in the quiet moments before dawn, she could swear she heard the wolf whisper her name. Her family noticed her growing unease. In the halls of her father's castle, whispers floated like dust in sunlight. "Elara seems troubled," they said. "She looks as though she has seen ghosts." But her father, a stern man with sharp eyes, only frowned and shook his head. "You waste your mind on shadows," he told her one evening, his voice tight. "Besp, think of the kingdom, of your duties. Dreams do not rule a woman's life." But Elara could not heed him. The dreams had begun to seep into her waking hours. In the garden she would pause mid-step, catching a glimmer of gold among the dark leaves, certain for a moment that the wolf watched her. In the library, the sound of paws brushing against fallen leaves echoed in her ears. And sometimes, when she closed her eyes, she could feel a presence leaning close, waiting, patient, knowing. She spoke to no one of this, not even her closest friend, Mira. Words could not carry the weight of what she felt. And yet, one day in the crowded streets of the market, a stranger approached her. He was cloaked in dark green, hood pulled low, eyes hidden. There was a quiet confidence in his steps, a slow certainty that made the air around him tremble. "You see them too," he said, not as a question, but as a statement. Elara froze. "See what?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "The golden eyes," he said. Breath. "They are not just in your dreams," her heart skipped. I don't understand," she stammered. He knelt slightly, lowering his voice. "They are memories, yours and his. You do not remember because you have not yet returned, but he is waiting." "The wolf is waiting!" Elara's mind reeled. Aspirations. Memories? A wolf waiting? The words made no sense. Yet deep in her chest something stirred. A strange, terrible hope. I cannot follow strangers into the woods," she said, instinctively stepping back. Base. He smiled faintly, a shadow of understanding in his gaze. "It is not I who will lead you."
It is your own heart. Listen closely when you sleep, and it will guide you.
And then he was gone, swallowed by the crowd like smoke. Elara stood rooted to the cobblestones, the sounds of the market distant now, as if she were hearing them from underwater. That night she did not sleep as usual. She waited, Bas. When sleep finally claimed her, the forest came alive. The wolf appeared as always, golden eyes burning in the darkness. But this time it did not run past her, nor did it vanish at the edge of her sight. Instead, it approached. Its massive form towered over her, yet there was no fear, only a deep, aching recognition.
"You are here," she whispered, though she did not know why she spoke aloud.
The wolf's gaze softened, and for a moment she saw not an animal, but a man's face behind those eyes, a face both familiar and strange, like a memory from the corner of her mind. The wind shifted, carrying the scent of pine and iron, and a voice, deep and resonant, spoke without moving lips. "You belong to me, Elara," it said. "As you always have."
Her breath caught. Her breath caught. Her breath caught. Ah!
Baya. Her body trembled. The words were heavy, binding, and yet strangely comforting. Before she could respond, the forest dissolved into darkness, and she awoke once more in her bed, heart pounding, her sheets drenched in sweat. But Elara could barely focus on her lessons or her duties. Every sound, every shadow seemed to whisper, "Of the wolf!" Her father noticed, and his frown deepened. "You must learn discipline," he said one morning. "You are not a child wandering in dreams. You are the daughter of this house. Do not let fancy rule your mind." She began, but the words faltered. How could she explain a wolf with eyes like gold? How could she explain that she felt more at home in the shadows of the forest than in the warmth of the castle halls? That night she slipped quietly from her room and walked to the edge of the estate. The forest loomed, dark and infinite, whispering secrets she could almost hear. She stood there, the cool wind on her face, listening. And then, as if drawn by a thread invisible to human eyes, she stepped forward. The trees embraced her like old friends. Moonlight spilled in silver beams across the forest floor. And there, in the clearing ahead, the golden eyes waited. The wolf stood perfectly still, its gaze fixed upon her. "Elara!" The voice came again, soft but commanding. "You do not remember, but I have waited. Inspiration. And now you have come." She wanted to run, to flee to safety, yet her feet refused. Something ancient and eternal stirred within her chest, a recognition older than any memory she could name. "You are real," she whispered. "And you are mine," the voice answered, though there was no cruelty in it. Only longing, only a weight of centuries. The wolf stepped closer, each movement graceful, powerful. Elara felt the pulse of its strength, the rhythm of its heart, and the wind seemed to carry a promise that her life, as she had known it, would never be the same. Beck. Suddenly the ground trembled. Leaves rustled, and shadows shifted unnaturally among the trees. Elara's heart leapt into her throat. "What is this?" she asked, voice shaking. "Danger," the wolf said, low and guttural. "And yet it waits for you not to harm, but to test." Bangs. "You have not yet returned fully. You are not ready for all that is yours, but soon." A branch snapped behind her. Elara spun around, eyes wide, but there was nothing. Only the wind and the soft murmur of the forest. The wolf's gaze returned to her. "But beware," The path you choose now will bind your soul, and there is no turning back. Alara's breath came in ragged bursts. Her mind reeled with questions, but one truth pressed against her chest like a living thing. The pull, the longing, the ache of recognition. She could not deny it. Breaths. She had come for this. And yet, even as she reached a tentative hand toward the golden eyes, the forest seemed to breathe around her, alive with secrets, and the wolf stepped back into the shadows.
You must wake now, it said. Remember only what you are ready to bear. The rest will come.
Elara awoke with a gasp, tangled in her sheets, the morning light painting the room in soft gold.
But the echo of the wolf lingered, the weight of the words pressing against her ribs, and the sense that the forest and the wolf within it would never let her go. As she dressed and walked through the castle halls, she felt eyes upon her, not the watchful eyes of servants or nobles, but something older, waiting, patient. She did not know if it was the wolf, the memory, or something else entirely. But deep inside she felt it. A call that could not be ignored, a truth she had always known. That night, when the castle slept and shadows danced across the walls, she closed her eyes. Best. She waited. And once more the forest opened before her, and the golden eyes burned through the darkness.
You belong to me, the voice whispered again, and this time Elara did not question it.
Somewhere deep inside she knew she had always been listening. Elara could not stop thinking about the golden eyes. They haunted her day and night, filling her mind with a strange pull she could not name. Even in the sunlight she felt their weight, as if a part of her was still lost in the forest, still waiting. The following evening she wandered to the edge of the estate again. The castle was quiet, and the moon hung low in the sky like a silver coin, spilling light over the land. Her heart raced with both fear and longing. She knew she could not ignore the call any longer. As she stepped into the forest, the familiar scent of pine and damp earth enveloped her. The trees bent slightly, as if greeting her return. Somewhere in the distance she heard a rustle of leaves, soft yet deliberate. She froze. Then he appeared. Not as a wolf this time, but as a man. Tall, broad-shouldered, with hair dark as night and eyes of molten gold. His gaze pierced her sharp, yet strangely familiar, as if he had known her longer than she had known herself. Every step he took seemed to make the shadows bow, and the air around him trembled with power.
Elara,
he said, his voice deep and commanding yet gentle, carrying the weight of centuries. You have come. She could barely speak. I don't understand, she whispered. Who are you? I am Kale, he said, and for a moment his golden eyes softened. I am the one you have dreamed of. The wolf you see is only part of me. I am bound to you, as you are bound to me. Do you remember nothing of what has been? Elara shook her head. Her chest tightened with a strange ache. Best, only the dreams.
I yell. He glanced closer, and she felt a heat rising from his presence. Dreams are memories.
Fragments of lives we have lived before. Lives that were ours together. The wolf is not a stranger. It is me, and you have always been by my side. Her mind spun. Lived before? Together? But how? Kale looked down at her, and for a moment she thought she saw pain flicker across his face. Long ago, a curse was cast upon us. Each life we tried to share ended in tragedy. Each time you were taken from me, and I could do nothing but wait. Elara's breath caught. Curse. Yes, he said softly. A curse born of fear, jealousy, and magic older than any living soul. It binds our fates, our memories, and our hearts. That is why you dream of me, why you feel the pull to the forest. You are returning, slowly, piece by piece. Her mind was a whirlwind of disbelief, fear, and longing. She wanted to step back, to flee to safety, but her body refused. Every fiber of her being seemed to lean toward him, to the golden eyes that had haunted her for so long. Why now? She asked. Why me? Kael's gaze softened, almost unbearably tender. Because you are ready to remember. Because the world grows dark, and our time is near. But beware, Elara. The path ahead is dangerous. Those who envy us, those who seek to harm the bond between us will not wait for your hesitation.
A cold wind swept through the forest, rustling the leaves and sending shivers down her spine.
She felt both fear and a strange thrill. What do I have to do? She asked, voice trembling. Best. Kael extended his hand. Trust me, follow me. There is much you must learn, and little time. If you choose to walk with me, you will see the truth of who you are, and the power you have always carried within.
Elara hesitated.
She thought of her family, of the safety of the castle, of a world she had always known. But the pull, the ache in her chest, grew too strong to deny. Slowly, she placed her hand in his. The moment their fingers touched, a warmth surged through her, as if a river of sunlight had entered her veins. Kael led her deeper into the forest. The trees grew taller, their branches intertwining above to form a shadowed cathedral of green. The air was thick with magic, humming softly like a song only she could hear. With every step, memories flashed in her mind, brief, fragmented visions of a man with golden eyes, of a wolf beside her, of moments of joy and heartbreak she could not fully place. But you are remembering, Kael said, his voice almost a whisper. Do not fear the past. But it is part of you, part of us. They reached a clearing, and there, rising from the ground like a monument of stone and shadow, was Kael's castle, Bay. Unlike the castle she had left behind, this one seemed alive, as if grown from the earth itself. Vines of silver and emerald wrapped its towers, and glowing runes shimmered along its walls. The gates opened silently, welcoming them as if the castle itself recognized Elara. Inside, the air was cool and heavy with ancient power. The halls were lined with tapestries depicting battles, wolves, and kings whose eyes glowed faintly gold. Every corner seemed to hum with life, and Elara could feel the weight of centuries pressing down on her. You are home, Kael said softly. Though this home has not seen you for long, it remembers you. And it waits for the day we can be together fully, without the curse to bind us. Elara's heart ached at the words. She wanted to believe him, to feel safe in the presence of this man who was both a stranger and something she had always known. But doubt lingered, a shadow at the edge of her mind. And if I fail? She asked. Kael's gaze hardened, and yet there was a flicker of sadness behind his golden eyes, breaths. Then the curse continues. Then we must wait again for the next life, the next chance. But you are stronger than the last. Bay, I can feel it in your soul.
They walked through the castle, and Kale showed her rooms filled with strange objects, books older than memory, weapons etched with runes, and mirrors that reflected not just her image, but glimpses of the forest, of wolves, of herself in other times.
Bed. Alara, Ale said, stopping before one mirror. Look closely. She stared and gasped. The reflection showed not only her own face, but scenes she did not remember living, running through the forest beside a wolf, laughing under the moon, and standing in this very castle with Kale's golden eyes watching her. Each image was fleeting, but each left a mark on her heart, a memory returning from deep within. You have been with me, Kale whispered. In every life you have come back to me, and now you have returned fully. But the past is not safe. Others will seek to use it, to harm us, to tear us apart before we can break the curse. You must be strong, Ilara. Stronger than before. Pain. Her chest tightened. She wanted to speak, to ask questions, to deny it all, yet the truth pressed against her, undeniable and raw. Bed. She nodded, even though she did not fully understand. Suddenly, the castle shuddered, but the walls groaned and the runes along the corridors flared with golden light. Shadows moved independently, curling and twisting as if alive. What is happening? Alara cried, clutching Kale's arm. Trouble, he said, his jaw tight. Bet. The forest recognizes you. Those who envy us, those who wish to control or destroy our bond are moving. We must be ready. Psh. He led her to a balcony overlooking the forest. Moonlight poured across the treetops, revealing figures moving among the shadows, dark shapes that slithered through the trees, watching, waiting. They sense you, Kale said quietly, and they will not stop until they have you, or until they have destroyed what we are trying to protect. Fear threatened to overtake her, yet she felt a strange courage rising in her chest. Somehow, in the presence of this man, this king of shadows and golden eyes, she felt a part of herself she had never known. Bet, I'm not afraid, she said, voice trembling but firm. I want to learn, to remember, to fight with you. Kale's golden eyes softened, and he reached out, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. You have always been brave, Alara. That is why I waited so long. That is why you are here. A wind rose suddenly, carrying a faint howl from the forest below. It was not the wolf alone, but something older, something watching. Alara felt it in her bones. The forest, the castle, the wolf, Kale, all connected in ways she could not yet understand. You must sleep tonight, Kale said. And when you do, the dreams will come again. But beware, this time they will not be gentle. You will see more, remember more, and the shadows will test you. Best. Alara nodded. Her heart raced, a mixture of fear, excitement, and longing. She understood finally that she had stepped into a world she could not leave behind. As she lay down that night in a room filled with the soft glow of runes and the whisper of magic, she felt the pull of the golden eyes, stronger than ever. The wolf appeared in her dream, larger, more magnificent than before, and beside it, the man, Kale, watching her with eyes full of power and longing. You are mine, Alara, he whispered in the dream, as you have always been. And now, we begin. And with that, the forest around her shimmered and twisted, and shadows began to stir in ways she could not yet comprehend. The night was alive, and Alara understood. One truth, she had crossed a threshold, one that could never be undone. The Alpha King had claimed not only her dreams but her destiny, and she would never be the same again. Alara woke with a start, her heart still pounding from the dream. The golden eyes of Kale, the Alpha King, lingered in her mind like a fire that refused to die. She lay still for a moment, listening to the soft hum of magic that seemed to pulse through the walls of the castle. It was alive with energy, as if the stones themselves remembered every heartbeat of every soul who had walked these halls. Kale entered her room silently, his presence filling the space. He moved with a grace that made her catch her breath, and yet there was a heaviness in his gaze that made her uneasy. "But did you sleep well?" he asked, his voice soft but edged with concern. Alara shook her head. "Base, I dreamed again." The forest, the wolf, you. It feels so real. Kale stepped closer, his golden eyes locking with hers. "It is real. Or at least part of it is." "You remember fragments, Alara, but the rest is hidden by the curse. Each life we have lived together has been touched by it. Each time something has kept us apart." Her hands trembled. "A curse. Why would anyone do this to us? What have we done?" Kale's jaw tightened. "Nothing and everything. The curse is ancient, older than even my kingdom. It was born from fear and jealousy, from a desire to control what should not be controlled. And it binds our souls, forcing us to repeat lives of longing, separation, and heartbreak." Alara swallowed hard. She felt a wave of fear, but beneath it, a strange determination. "Then we must break it. There must be a way." Kael's expression softened, yet his eyes held a shadow. "Breaking it will not be easy. We will face trials, enemies, and truths you are not yet ready to fully understand. But I will guide you. I cannot bear another lifetime without you." Alara felt a surge of emotion, part fear, part hope, part longing. Best, she had never known a bond like this, one that felt older than the stars themselves, stronger than life or death. She reached out, brushing her hand against his. I will try. I will face whatever is necessary." "Bay." Kale nodded, and for a moment the weight of centuries seemed to lift from his shoulders. "Good. Then we begin." He led her through the castle to a hidden chamber she had never seen before. The walls were lined with mirrors, each reflecting not only her image but flickers of other times, other lives she had lived, moments of joy, sorrow, and fleeting glimpses of Kale in forms she could barely recognize.
"This is where the curse binds us," Kale explained.
"These mirrors show what has been lost, what we have been denied. To break the curse, you must confront these memories, embrace them, and forgive what has been done to us." Alara stepped closer to one mirror, her breath catching. She saw herself as a young woman in another life, running through a moonlit forest with Kale by her side, laughing and free. Bess. Then the image shifted, showing the same forest ablaze, Kale falling and her reaching out too late. Each life ended in heartbreak, each memory a reminder of the curse's cruelty. Tears filled her eyes. All these lives, and I never remembered. The curse keeps the memories hidden to protect you, to protect us. But now you are ready to see the truth. You must remember not just the joy, but the pain.
Only then can we hope to change our fate.
Alara nodded, her heart heavy but resolute.
She reached out, touching the mirror, and was instantly pulled into a vision. She was running through the forest, the wolf beside her. She remembered the wind on her face, the scent of pine, the warmth of Kale's presence. Then the forest darkened, shadows twisting around her, and she saw Kale fall, struck by an unseen force. She screamed, reaching for him, but the darkness swallowed him, leaving her alone and trembling. She fell to her knees, gasping.
I remember. I remember everything.
Kale knelt beside her, his hand brushing her hair from her face. Good. Remembering is the first step. Now we must face the curse itself. It will not give up easily. It will test you, try to divide you, make you doubt. But you are stronger than before, Ilara. I feel it. That night they trained in the castle's ancient courtyard, under the glow of the moon. Kale taught her to focus her energy, to feel the magic that flowed through her veins, a power that had always been part of her but had lain dormant. She learned to listen to the forest, to sense the life around her, and to connect with the wolf within Kale, the spirit that had waited centuries for her return. As days passed, the bond between them deepened. They shared moments of quiet intimacy, holding hands, brushing past each other in the hallways, exchanging glances that spoke of unspoken memories and promises. Yet the curse lingered, a shadow over their connection, a constant reminder that danger waited just beyond their sight. One evening, while exploring the castle's tower, Ilara found a hidden chamber filled with scrolls and ancient texts. She ran her fingers over the brittle pages, feeling the weight of knowledge that had been preserved for centuries. Kael joined her, his golden eyes scanning the writings. "These scrolls contain the history of the curse," he said. "They tell of its origin, its power, and the way it has shaped our lives, but they also hint at a way to break it, through forgiveness, trust, and the merging of our souls. We must face it together, fully, without fear." Ilara nodded, determination flaring in her chest. "Then, we will do it. Whatever it takes, we will break the curse." Suddenly the castle trembled. Shadows flickered along the walls and a cold wind swept through the tower. Ilara's heart raced as she felt a presence, something ancient, something dark, watching them. "The curse senses us," Kale said, his voice low and tense. "It knows we are close to breaking its hold, and it will not give up easily. We must be ready."
They moved to the balcony, overlooking the forest.
The moonlight revealed dark shapes moving among the trees, figures that seemed to blend with the shadows, watching, waiting. "Those who seek to keep us apart, to control or destroy what we are trying to protect. They will test us, challenge us, try to make us falter." Ilara felt a surge of fear, but also a strange courage. She had come too far to turn back now. "I'm not afraid," she said, her voice steady. "We face it together." Kael reached for her hand, and the warmth of his touch sent a shiver through her. "Good. Together, we are stronger than any curse, any shadow."
But you must trust me, Ilara. Trust yourself.
Trust what we have always been, what we are meant to be.
That night, as she slept, the dreams came again.
This time, they were vivid, intense, and filled with images of the past. The wolf running through the forest, battles fought and lost, moments of love and betrayal. Each vision tested her, forcing her to confront fear, sorrow, and longing she had never fully understood. Kael appeared in the dreams, guiding her, protecting her, yet also challenging her to face her own doubts and fears. "Do not resist," he whispered. "You must remember, Only by remembering can you be free. Elara felt the weight of the curse pressing against her mind, but also a strange power rising within her. She reached out, touching Kale's golden eyes in the dream, and felt a surge of energy, a connection that spanned lifetimes. Breath. She understood then, with clarity, that their bond was not merely love. It was destiny woven through time, unbreakable, and yet fragile. When she awoke, Kyle was at her side, watching her with a mixture of concern and admiration. "Psst. You are stronger than I ever imagined," he said softly. "And now, the real test begins. The curse will strike at us in ways we cannot yet see, and we must be ready to face it together." Elara nodded, feeling the weight of their shared destiny settle on her shoulders. She had seen the pain of the past, felt the power of the present, and glimpsed the possibility of a future where they could be free. The path ahead was dangerous, filled with shadows and trials, but she was no longer afraid. Together they stepped into the courtyard, ready to face whatever the curse would throw at them. The wind rustled through the trees, carrying the faint howl of the wolf, a reminder of the bond that had endured centuries, a bond that could not be broken. And in that moment, Elara understood one truth. The curse was powerful, yes, but so was their love, their courage, and their connection. They had been tested by time, by magic, by shadows, but now they were ready to fight, to remember and to reclaim what had always been theirs. The forest around them stirred, alive with unseen eyes. The shadows whispered and twisted, preparing to challenge them. But Elara stood tall, her hand in Kale's, her heart beating with strength and hope. The curse would not defeat them. Not this time. The night air was heavy with tension. The castle's towers, once quiet and majestic, now hummed with restless energy. Shadows flickered along the walls, twisting and stretching as though alive. Elara stood at the edge of the courtyard, her hand in Kale's, feeling the pulse of magic that radiated from him and from the land around them. "This is it," Kale said softly, his golden eyes fixed on the forest beyond. "The curse has sensed that we are ready. It will strike with everything it has. But together, we can face it." Elara swallowed hard, feeling a mixture of fear, resolve, and something deeper, an unshakable trust. She had seen the past, felt the pain of countless lifetimes, and awakened to the power that flowed through her. Now, she was ready to confront the force that had kept them apart for centuries. A wind rose suddenly, cold and sharp, carrying whispers that seemed to echo from every shadow. The trees around the castle trembled, and a low, haunting howl rolled through the night. Elara's heart leapt. The wolf, the golden-eyed wolf, stood at the edge of the forest, watching. Its eyes gleamed with recognition and anticipation. "Remember what I taught you," Kale said, tightening his grip on her hand. "Trust the bond between us. Trust yourself." Trust what we have always been, and what we are meant to be. The first attack came like a shadow falling over the land. Figures cloaked in darkness emerged from the forest, moving silently yet with lethal intent. They were not human, not entirely, creatures born of the curse itself, twisted by centuries of malice. Their eyes glowed with a cold, unnatural light, and their whispers filled the air with doubt and fear. "Stay close to me," Kale instructed, stepping forward. His presence radiated power, a golden flame cutting through the darkness. Elara felt it too, the energy of her own awakening, and together their strength intertwined. The creatures surged forward, and the battle began. Kale moved with precision, each strike of his sword echoing with magic, sending shadows scattering. Elara followed, her newfound power flowing through her hands, bending the energy of the curse itself. Light and darkness collided, sparks flying as the night became alive with motion. "You are stronger than I imagined," Kale said, his voice carrying over the chaos. "But do not let fear control you." She remembered the countless lives they had lost, the times they had been torn apart, and she channeled all of it into her strength. The shadows shrieked as they tried to reach her, but the bond between her and Kale acted as a shield, a force older than the curse itself. Then came the moment of truth. From the deepest darkness, a massive figure emerged, cloaked in black and crowned with frost. Its eyes glowed with the same golden hue as Kale's, yet twisted, cruel, and demanding obedience. The heart of the curse had arrived. "Elara Kale," it hissed, voice like ice over stone. "You cannot break what has been written." "You belong to the cycle, as you always have." Kale stepped forward, standing tall despite the darkness pressing in. "No, we are not bound to your will." "We are stronger than you, stronger than the centuries of sorrow you feed upon." The creature's laugh was cold, echoing across the courtyard. "Then prove it. Show me your bond." "Show me your love. Only through failure will you learn your place." Elara felt fear gnaw at her, but she also felt a warmth rising from her chest. The golden bond that had always connected her to Kale, the memories of countless lives and the energy of the forest itself. She took a deep breath, reaching for Kale's hand.
"We remember," she whispered, voice steady.
"We remember every life, every moment, every longing, and we will not be broken."
Kale's eyes glowed brighter as he pressed his hand against hers.
"Together," he said. "Always together." The golden light from their joined hands surged outward, pushing the darkness back. The creatures of the curse screamed and recoiled, their forms twisting and fading like smoke in the wind. The central figure roared in fury, the icy crown shattering as the bond between Elara and Kale burned brighter than the curse itself. Elara felt herself lifted, as if weightless, and the memories of the past flooded through her. The laughter, the tears, the moments she and Kale had shared across centuries. She saw the wolf, the man, and the countless times they had been torn apart by. And yet, instead of despair, she felt clarity. The curse could not hold them because their love was more than a cycle. It was a force of life itself.
Kale's voice reached her, steady and strong. "Now, Elara."
"Believe in us. Believe in what we have always been." She did. She poured all of her energy, all of her love, all of the courage she had gained through centuries of loss into the golden light. The darkness screamed and wriggled, but it could not withstand the force of two souls bound by destiny and unwavering trust. And then, with a sound like glass shattering across eternity, the curse broke. The shadows dissolved into mist, the air cleared, and the golden-eyed wolf appeared before them in its full, magnificent form.
Its eyes softened, no longer harsh or demanding, but protective and calm.
Elara knelt, reaching out to touch its fur, feeling the magic and the history woven into its being.
Kale joined her, and for a moment they simply stood together, breathing in the silence.
The curse was gone, and the world seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would come next. "Elara," Kale said softly, turning to her. "It is over. We are free."
You...
Tears filled her eyes, and she laughed softly, a sound full of relief and wonder. All those lives, all that pain. It led us here. Yes, Kale agreed. And now we can choose our own future. Together. They walked back to the castle hand in hand. The halls seemed different now, lighter, filled with a sense of possibility. The mirrors that had once shown memories of pain now reflected only the present and the potential of their future. The forest outside was calm, the wind gentle, carrying whispers of life and renewal. Elora paused at the balcony, looking out over the land. Bow. The moonlight shimmered on the trees, and she could see the wolf moving gracefully through the shadows, ever watchful. She felt a deep connection to the forest, to Kale, and to the magic that flowed through everything around her. I never thought I would feel this, she said softly. But so much love. So much peace. Best. Kale pulled her close, resting his forehead against hers.
You have always been meant to feel it, Elara.
You just needed to remember. And now we can finally be together without the curse shadowing our hearts. For a long moment they simply held each other, letting the quiet of the night settle around them. And then Kale spoke again, his voice filled with a promise. No matter what comes, we will face it together. The past may have tried to separate us, but the future is ours. Psst. Elara smiled, feeling warmth bloom in her chest. Together, she echoed. The golden-eyed wolf appeared once more at the edge of the forest, sitting silently, watching them. It did not need to speak. Its presence was a reminder of the bond that had endured centuries, the love that had been tested and strengthened, and the magic that had been healed. As the first light of dawn touched the castle towers, Elara and Kale stood on the balcony, hand in hand, hearts intertwined. The curse was gone, the shadows banished, and the world seemed full of possibility. Elara felt a sense of peace she had never known. She had faced the past, confronted the curse, and emerged stronger, braver, and more certain of who she was and what she was meant to be. And beside her, Kale, the Alpha King, was no longer a distant memory or a shadow in her dreams. He was real, present, and hers to face the future with. They watched the sun rise together, golden light spilling over the land, warming the earth, the castle, and their hearts. And in that light the golden-eyed wolf stood, a silent guardian of their love, a witness to the redemption of two souls who had endured centuries of longing and pain, only to find each other at last. Elara leaned into Kale, feeling the warmth of his body, the strength of his presence, and the certainty that they had survived everything together. The curse was broken, the past forgiven, and the future theirs to shape. And in that moment, she understood one truth more than any other. Love, when bound by trust, courage, and unwavering devotion, could survive even the darkest magic, even the longest centuries, and even the cruelest curses.